वेलकम बैक। लास्ट टाइम हमने जो है यहाँ पे छोड़ा था, तो आज जो है हम इसी डेफिनेशन से जो है वापस स्टार्ट कराएंगे। ओके, तो मैंने आप लोगों को कहा था कि टैक्सोनॉमी जो है इज़ द थ्योरी एंड प्रैक्टिस ऑफ क्लासिफाइंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स। ओके, तो ये जो है हमने पढ़ा था अपने लास्ट वीडियो के लेक्चर में। तो टुडे लेट्स फोकस ऑन द नेक्स्ट डेफिनेशन, दैट इज सिस्टमैटिक्स। ओके, तो आज जो है हम देखेंगे कि टैक्सोनॉमी, सिस्टमैटिक्स ये सब क्या है। सो व्हाई वी आर यूजिंग सच वर्ड्स देयर। So systematics. Okay, so let's see this word first, where it came from and what does it mean. You know, it stems from Latinized Greek word Latinized Greek word systema. As applied to the systems of classification which were developed by early naturalists. Okay, तो इस टर्म को जो है इस्तेमाल किया गया था एंड जो है इसे अप्लाई किया गया था टू द सिस्टम्स ऑफ क्लासिफिकेशन। ठीक है ना, जो अर्ली नेचुरलिस्ट्स जो है जिन्होंने वो क्लासिफिकेशन जो है अर्ली क्लासिफिकेशन जो है वो डेवलप की थी, तो दे सिंपली यूज द टर्म सिस्टमैटिक्स। फॉर एग्जाम्पल वन ऑफ द नोटेबल एग्जाम्पल जो मैं आप लोगों को बताना चाहूँगा, दैट्स ऑफ लिनस। ओके, दैट्स ऑफ लिनस। अगर आप इसकी बुक का नाम देखोगे तो इट इज सिस्टमा नेचर। ओके, तो ये जो इसकी बुक थी जो लिनस ने लिखी थी, तो इसने अपनी बुक का भी नाम जो क्या रखा था, सिस्टमा नेचर। तो यही से जो है आप मान लो कि ये जो टर्म सिस्टमैटिक्स जो है इसका ओरिजिन जो है यू विल फाइंड इट समवेयर रोमिंग इन सच जनरल नेम्स एज प्रोवाइडेड बाय द अर्ली नेचुरलिस्ट्स। ओके, तो अगर आप इस बुक का जो है इस सिस्टमा नेचर का फर्स्ट एडिशन देखोगे, इट वाज 1753। ठीक है ना, जो था इसका फर्स्ट एडिशन जो है इस बुक का था। ओके, तो यहाँ पे जो है आप लोग अंदाज़ा कर सकते हो कि दिस टर्म कब जो है ये इस्तेमाल की गई थी एंड क्यों जो है आज हम इसे जो है इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं। अब बात यह है कि अब टैक्सोनॉमी टर्म को इस्तेमाल करें या सिस्टमैटिक्स टर्म को इस्तेमाल करें, कौन सी टर्म जो है वो बेहतर रहेगी फॉर दिस ब्रांच ऑफ बायोलॉजी। ओके, तो अगर आप देखोगे मेयर की जो बाकी बुक्स है, जो अर्लियर बुक्स है, मेरे पास जो बुक है मैंने आपको शायद लास्ट टाइम दिखाया था, यस दिस वन, प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ सिस्टमैटिक ज़ूलॉजी। ठीक है ना, सेकंड एडिशन। तो ये अर्नेस्ट मेयर एंड पीटर डी एशलॉक की है। ओके, अगर आप रेस्ट ऑफ द बुक्स इसकी देखोगे, अर्नेस्ट मेयर एंड बाकी साइंटिस्ट्स की देखोगे, यू विल फाइंड देयर कि उन्होंने जो है एक जगह पे ये भी मेंशन किया था कि दीज टू टर्म्स दे आर यूज्ड इंटरचेंजेबली। सो देयर इज नथिंग लाइक दैट कि आप लोग जो है इस पे ज़्यादा फोकस करो। ठीक है ना, but still you must be knowing some things which I think are essential in this case. So how to use such terms and what stands the definition behind such terms. तो for example systematics को define किया था सिम्पसन ने। Simpson's definition जो है he defined the systematics as systematics, it is the scientific study. What? It is the scientific study of the kinds. Remember this definition. You can quote this definition whenever, wherever needed. So this is the reason, because it has been provided by one of the greatest taxonomists, that is Simpson. And ahead you will see in so many topics I will repeat this name, and this is the reason where you people need to remember such a definition. So how he defined it, actually that matters. Okay, so how much you will remember, then of course if you are able to understand it properly, then probably you will use the same words, or maybe the same definition. Okay. So by the way, if you are going to use some I mean to say a bit different words, or totally different words, but the meaning corresponds to this very definition, then of course that too is valid. Okay, so what matters here is the thought which is behind the term systematics. Okay, so Simpson defined it. Systematics is the scientific study of kinds and diversity of organisms and of any and all relationships among them. So Simpson defined it. It is the scientific study of all the kinds and diversity of organisms, and of any and all relationships among them. So let's try to understand it. Okay, so in a better way, let's try to understand it, why the respected scientists used such a definition to define the systematics. Okay, so here you can see the kinds and diversity of organisms. Okay, so it seems to be the same things. Okay, but ahead things will be clear. The kinds and diversity of organisms, and remember, of any and all relationships. This is the most important term here. So earlier what we studied about the taxonomy, that is the theory, that was simply a theory and practice of classifying organisms. Okay, taxonomy, initially we defined that as taxonomy is the theory and practice of classifying organisms. So in taxonomy, in the definition of taxonomy, you will not find the term relationships. So when you are going to study the systematics, remember, besides classifying the organisms, okay, besides classifying the organisms, you have to do also this job. This means you are going to depict somewhere the evolutionary relationships also there. Okay, so there now comes the involvement of different subjects, because as such taxonomy is not able to carry out such things. And today what we think of the taxonomy or systematics, we say it's actually a branch which is supported by so many subjects, because to find the evolutionary relationship and of any and all the relationships, you need to study so many things. For example, you need to study the ecology. Okay, you need to study the evolutionary biology. You need to study the ethology, or we can say the behavioral biology. Okay, likewise you need to study the molecular biology. molecular biology. For what? To carry out these relationships. Also, for example, I have added here 1, 2, 3, 4. Likewise, there are so many fields. For example, one of the field which you are going to use here is comparative anatomy. Okay? That is comparative anatomy and physiology. To carry out what? To carry out such relationships. Likewise, there is another definition. Which I should pose here is that systematics is the science of diversity of organisms. Systematics is the science of diversity of organisms. This is a simplified definition. Okay? This is one of the simplified definition. So how you are going to think about the things, that depends actually upon you. So here the relationship word, it was used in a broad sense to include all biological interactions among them. So a broad area of common interest developed between systematics, evolutionary biology, ecology and behavioral ecology. Okay? So also we must remember here it deals with population, species and higher taxa. It deals with population, okay, species and higher taxa so thereby supplying information among them and cultivates a way of thinking, okay, and cultivates a way of thinking, or we can say a way of approaching biological problems. So it deals with such things, okay, isn't it? So thereby furnishing what? Furnishing some important information by virtue of which you are going to deal with the biological problems. You are going to solve the biological problems because you are going to study here the relationship between the organisms. So whether it is the relationship, we can say, if you are going to study it within a population or between the species or somewhere between the higher taxa. Okay, so when you are going to study such relationships, you are of course provided with a lot of information which would help you to solve various biological problems. Like one of the biological problem which you can pose here is the construction of an evolutionary tree. Okay, the life tree. So which could show you where from the organisms came and how their evolution occurred. So here now we are going to pick the next topic from the book Principles of Systematic Zoology, that is major tasks of this very branch. Okay, hope you people are enjoying this lecture. This is the first chapter, and in first chapter we have to deal with the things but not so deep, because here we have to just construct your mind for the coming lectures. Okay, so briefly, this is the reason I am dealing here with things in a very simplified manner, because I know ahead this subject it is going to become something more tricky and something which you people where you people need to use your brain. So this is the reason we are going to take this book in topic wise. Okay, we have to select the topics from this book, and from topic to topic we have to move on. So likewise, if you have this book, keep it open so that after studying here you could revise it, and maybe there could be some special terms through which you need to go again and again, and you need to study them again and again to construct the base for the coming lectures. So major tasks. So one of the major tasks is determine by means of comparison what the unique properties of each species and higher taxa are. Okay, so determine by means of how? Comparison what the unique. Why I am going to paste such things on the board? Because I know you people need to construct the notes. This is the reason I am trying to make the things clear here. Unique properties of each species. And higher taxon are. So this is the first thing the branch of the systematics need to visualize. So what to do? Simply determine by means of comparison. It means that different organisms, different taxa, different species, different genes, you need to compare. You need to compare in so many things. For example, in their anatomy, for example, in their ecology, for example, in relation with their behavior, and you need to study all these organisms, and by virtue of this you people need to evaluate the unique properties. Okay, for example, let me take reptiles, or for example, let me take mammals. So can you suggest a single word by virtue of which I am going to define whether this organism is a reptile or that organism is a mammal? Simply, whenever you think of the mammals, you say, oh, a hairy-faced, or we can say an animal. Okay, an animal having face, of course, hairy, okay, and having mammary glands, generally. Okay, whensoever there comes the name of such things, so remember, we think of the mammals. Okay, so stands the case with reptiles. They are dry skin, they are hard skin, it comes into the mind. Okay, so likewise there are so many things. For example, aves, or we can say simply birds. Whensoever the name of the bird comes into the mind, remember, there comes the feathers, there comes their streamlined body, there comes beak. That too, it should be without what we called it, without any set of teeth. Okay, so by virtue of this systematics, you people need to evaluate the species, the organisms with each other, and you need to find their unique properties of each species and higher taxon. Okay, so how you are going to do this? It's actually the job of systematics, and how you will do it will be taught in the coming chapters. Okay, so how you are going to select the taxonomy keys, and what should be the properties of that very keys by virtue of which you could evaluate such things. But till you people need to wait and need to study it here. Likewise, to determine What properties certain taxa have in common? Properties certain taxa have in common. So think of it, if there are, for example, 2 or more taxa having some common property, what do you think, how you are going to classify them? Likewise, so to determine such properties that certain taxa have in common, and what the biological cause of the differences or shared characters are. ठीक है ना? For this you need to find the cause. For this you need to find the cause. And for example, if there are differences between various taxa, likewise, what is the cause? Okay, so this means you need to determine some properties. Okay, these properties, they could be either similar or they could be either different. If they are similar, what stands the reason? If they are different, what stands the reason? If they are similar, what you are going to do with the such taxa? Will you place them in the same group, or will you group them together, or will you group them what I should say, or will you group them separately, or put them into different groups? Okay, so you need to do this by virtue of this what we call as the systematics. Likewise, concerned variation within taxa. This is the next job of the taxonomy, or what we can say the systematics. You need to find, for example, if there is a particular taxa. Okay, there is a particular taxa, and in this taxa you have so many organisms. Okay, you have so many organisms, and in these organisms you find variations. Okay, you find what? Variations. So if there are variations within a taxa, you need to even evaluate that. What's the reason behind that? So these are the some, I would like to say, more generalized tasks of the taxonomy. There are so many other things which with time I will clear, but till let me show you one thing. Yes, just wait. So we have started the science of taxonomy. That's chapter 1, and till here you have to you people studied in 2 lectures. So the 2 definitions, that is systematics. Okay, and you have studied the major tasks of the taxonomy. So ahead we are going to study the contributions, likewise the applied biology. So we are going to take the topic wise this book. Okay, so hope you people are understanding it very well, and I hope if you did like such videos in future, and then probably you will subscribe this channel, and if you wish, you can like, or you can have comment, or if you have any question, any suggestion, or anything else, you can deal such things with me via comments. Okay, I will try to complete this book within a month, and you people know for that we need to work hard. Okay, because this is the higher zoology, where you need to study the things in a way that confusions should be minimized, and and such things, they should be put forth in a more beautiful way. Otherwise it's much more hard to study such subjects like taxonomy, like we have comparative anatomy and physiology, like we have higher evolutionary biology. To study such things, it's very hard, but I am trying to my best to do something special here, and I hope you people will enjoy it and will suggest me from time to time what we need to do to enhance the things or to enhance simply कुछ जो चीज़ें ऐसी है कि जो हमें बेहतर करनी चाहिए. आई होप कि आप लोगों से जो है सजेशन मिल जाएगी. So for next lecture, maybe at tomorrow.